A pleasant day to all of you, my dear students. From this recorded lecture, let me continue the discussion for accounting for partnership liquidation, specifically partnership liquidation under the lump sum method. Under the lump sum method, all the non-cash assets are realized and all liabilities are settled before a single final cash distribution is made to the partners. But before you can be able to prepare the statement of liquidation, it is very important that you understand the different steps to follow in the liquidation process. And as for the steps or procedures to follow, these procedures presented may be followed in lump sum liquidation. First, realization of non-cash assets and distribution of gain or loss on realization among the partners based on their profit or loss sharing ratio. So, the first step is the realization. It means to say that you have to sell the non-cash assets into cash so that the non-cash asset is converted into cash. Kasi kung hindi siya magiging cash, hindi natin siya magagamit na pambayad ng liabilities or it is impossible for us to return kung hindi siya magiging cash. So in the realization of the non-cash assets, may mga instances wherein nabibenta natin ang non-cash asset ng more than the book value or pwede ring less than the book value ng non-cash assets. So, in that particular case, kapag ibinenta natin siya ng more than doon sa book value niya, nagkakaroon tayo ng gain on realization. Whereas, kung ibinenta natin siya ng mas mababa kesa doon sa kanyang book value, nagkakaroon tayo ng loss on realization. So, this gain or loss on realization ay dinidivide natin sa mga partner. And what is our basis in dividing the gain or loss on realization? So, we also use yung kanilang profit or loss sharing ratio. And then second is the payment of liabilities. Of course, after all the non-cash assets are being realized, kasi lump sum ito, ibig sabihin na benta natin lahat ng asset. So, na-cash na tayo. The second na kailangan natin gawin is to pay the liabilities. Take note that the outside creditor of the partnership, sila yung mayroong unang karapatan na mabayaran. They have the preferential rights kapag nagli-liquidate na. So, once na may cash na, since this is lump sum, the assumption is we have this pangbayad na tayo ng ating obligation ng partnership. And third, after the payment of liabilities, we have to eliminate the partner's capital deficiencies. So if after the distribution of loss on the realization, a partners incur a capital deficiency, so kailan nagkakaroon ng capital deficiency ang partner? Kapag ang kanyang share sa realization, sa loss, no, ay sumobra doon sa kanyang capital credit, dito nagkakaroon ng capital deficiency yung partner. And how are we going to eliminate that partner's capital deficiency? So meron tayong kailangang sundin, no, in the order of priority. First, if the deficient partner has a loan balance, then exercise the right of offset. So sinasabi natin dito sa letter A, kung yung deficient partner by reason of loss on realization na share niya is nag-exceed sa kanyang capital credit dahil nagkaroon siya ng deficiency, pwede nating i-exercise yung right of offset if in case the deficient partner ay meron siyang loan balance. Ibig sabihin, ito yung sa loan balance na it is possible that the partner meron siyang pautang sa partnership, may binigay siyang cash advance sa partnership business. So, in that case, the partner na mayroong cash advance na ibinigay sa partnership can be considered as inside creditor. So, yung instead na mababayaran siya doon sa pina-advance niya sa partnership, kung capital deficit siya, no, as a partner na mayroong capital deficiencies, exercise na lang natin yung right of offset. Okay. And second, if the deficient partner is solvent. Ibig sabihin ng solvent, the partner who happens to be a capital deficit na partner, no, ay kaya niyang magkaroon ng additional investment para ma-cover niya at ma-eliminate niya yung kanyang capital deficiency. So dahil solvent niya, solvent itong partner na to, then he should invest cash, no, to eliminate his deficiency. And third, if the deficient partner naman is insolvent, ibig sabihin personally, this partner is not capable of investing additional cash to eliminate his capital deficiency, then the other partner should absorb his deficiency. So ganon, yung partner na kasama niya, siya muna yung mag-absorb ng kanyang capital deficiency. Is mean to say this is additional loss actually on the other partners. And with regards to the payment to partners, meron din tayong order of priority. Ito yung una, na-realize na natin yung cash. So, may pera na. Nagbayad na tayo ng utang, no? Na-settle na natin all the obligation of the partnership. And then we also eliminated all the partners' capital deficiencies at meron pa tayong natitira na cash, no? So, ito na yung papaano natin sila ibabalik doon sa partner. So, meron din siyang order of priority. Of course, una, magbayad muna tayo doon sa loan accounts. So, baka yung mga partner na may cash advance, bayaran muna natin sila. And then, after that, na masettle yung mga loan accounts, then dito na natin tayo magbabalik ng para sa kanilang capital accounts o yung kanilang natitirang capital. After considering all the gain or loss on realization na na-adjust natin o nag-reflect dun sa kanilang capital accounts. So, let us take this illustration so that we can be able to understand the liquidation process under the lump sum method. So let us assume that Alex Benedict Calma, Nigel Flores, and Jamaica Feliciano are partners in a public accounting firm and share profits and losses and the ratio of 2:2:1 respectively. So they decided to liquidate their business on December 31, 2019. The following slide is the condensed statement of financial position prepared prior to liquidation. So these are the statement of financial position before the liquidation. So the cash is 200,000, non-cash assets is 3.4 million with the total assets of 3.6. Then under the liabilities and capital, the liabilities is 1,120,000. Nigel Flores loan is 50,000, no? Jamaica Feliciano loan is 80,000. Annex Benedict Calma capital is 950,000. Nigel Flores capital is 600,000. And Jamaica Feliciano capital 800,000 for a total liabilities and capital of 3.6 million. So for case number 1, let us assume that the loss on realization is fully absorbed by partners' capital balances. So let us assume that the non-cash assets are sold for 2.5 million. So yung kanilang P&L is 40%, 40%, and 20%. The loss on realization, how are you going to compute for the loss on realization? Going back with our statement of financial position, as you can see, the non-cash assets is 3.4 million. Kung nabenta natin siya ng 2.5 million, ibig sabihin, meron tayong loss on realization of 900,000. Why? Because the book value of the non-cash asset being sold is mas mataas siya kesa doon sa ating na-realize na cash. We only realized 2.5 million and yet ang ibinenta natin na non-cash asset is 3.4 million. Kaya nagkaroon tayo ng loss on realization of 900,000. If that would be the case, dahil may loss tayo on realization, this is the statement of liquidation for case number 1. So this is the proper format of preparing the statement of liquidation. You have to have the title of the partnership business, the title of the statement, the date, no? And then you have to indicate all the account title in the statement of financial position. You have discussed the non-cash assets. Of course, if the non-cash assets is meron tayong nakalagay na property, plant, and equipments, okay? And then office equipment, like yun ang gagamitin natin instead of just using the non-cash assets. Because once nagawa tayo ng entry, dapat kung ano yung account title, yun ang magre-reflect dahil i-close din natin yung mga yon. But for para lang simple ang ating presentation, we just use the non-cash assets here. And then we have the liabilities. Liabilities can also be, pwede ding ang account title niyan, accounts payable, notes payable, no? Depende kung ano yung account title being used by the partnership business. And then, yung loan account, we have this Flores loan, Feliciano loan, and then their capital account. And we also indicate the profit and loss percentages nila. 40%, 40%, and 20%. So I'm pretty sure you know how we computed this, how we arrived at 40%, 40%, and 20, given the profit and loss sharing ratio nila doon sa ating problem illustration. So, the balances before liquidation, ito yon. This is exactly what is written in your statement of financial position. We just transfer the balances here. And then, since from our procedure, if you still remember, the first step to follow is the realization of the non-cash assets in the distribution of loss on realization. So ito tayo nun. Sale of non-cash assets and distribution of losses. So binenta natin, we have this 2.5. We have 2.5 million cash na na-realize. So that 2.5 is being added dun sa tapat ng cash. Dahil binenta na natin yung non-cash asset natin. Of course, yung 3.4 million, wala na siya. Mamaminus siya ngayon doon sa tapat na non-cash asset. And the loss on realizations that we have identified amounting to 900,000 kanina is divided siya sa mga partner using the kanilang P&L percentages. So ito yon. So it is a deduction in their capital balance, no? And then after ma-reflect natin yung nasa first step, get the balances. Since you have 2.5, you add the 200,000. So your cash now is 2.7. Since nabenta na to, wala na tayong ibababang amount dito kasi zero na siya. For liabilities, binabalang natin yung amount of liabilities. And then the loan, then yung Feliciano loan din, no? The loan balances. Since meron silang loss on realization, we have reflected the loss on realization sa kanilang capital balance. Ito na ngayon yung naging balance ng kanilang capital after deducting the loss on realization. As you can see, positive pa rin lahat yung result ng kanilang capital. Ibig sabihin, the loss on realization amounting to 900,000 is kaya pa rin i-absorb ng kanilang capital balances. So, after the balances, second step is payment of liabilities to outsiders. So, bayad muna tayo ng utang. Since we have 2.7 million, you pay the liabilities 1,120,000. So there is a corresponding deduction in your cash and may deduction din doon sa mismong liabilities. And then determine again the balances. Since nagbayad tayo ng 1,120,000, 1,580,000 na lang ang ating cash. Wala na dito, okay? Non-cash assets, wala. And then, wala na rin tayong i-extend na amount for liabilities dahil binayaran na natin. So, ang ibababa natin, yung mga hindi pa nagagalaw. So, we have this 50, 80, tinransfer lang natin, ibinaba lang natin yung capital balances. And then, next is the payment to partners. So, from our previous slides na na-discuss natin yung procedures, no? Or to follow in sa payment to partners. So since we have this 1,580,000, and as you can see that 1,580,000 is enough to settle all this. Yung loan, yung loan ng dalawa kasi, no? And then yung capital. So dito pwede na natin silang pagsamahin instead of having a different, kunyari, payment of to partners in a form of loan, alisin natin ito, ibababa pa natin. So pwede namang magkakasabay na sila. So payment to partners, we have 1,580,000. So yung payment na yan na ginawa natin is para dun sa loan kay Flores na 50,000, Feliciano loan of 80, Calma Capital 590, Flores Capital 240, and Feliciano Capital for 620,000. So itong mga steps na to, kaya naka-number yan, no? Ginawa natin ng number. Ito rin kasi yung kailangan nating igawa ng entries. Dapat merong journal entries na manggaling dyan. So, ito ngayon yung ating entries pertaining to case 1. So, for the sale of the non-cash assets, di ba, you debit the cash for 2.5, and then you debit the loss on realization for 900,000 and credit the non-cash assets for 3.4 million. So, entries for the distribution of loss on realization, kung titingnan nyo kanina, kung ano yung mga amount na nabawas sa kanila dito, no? 360, 360, 180, iyon ang nakadebit sa kanilang mga capital. So, kasi di ba pag dinidebit natin ang capital, doon natin siya nadidecrease sa entry na yon. So yan, nakadebit ang capital nila corresponding to the amount of loss on realization. At credit natin yung loss on realization of 900,000. That entry, ginawa nating entry, may debit tayo doon na loss, may credit tayo, nag-close na yung account title or yung account na ginawa natin na loss on realization. And second, payment of liability. So you debit the liabilities for 1,120,000 and credit cash 1,120,000. And the entries for the distribution of cash to partner. So debit natin yung loan account with the corresponding amount as stated doon sa ating statement of liquidation. And then debit yung kanilang mga capital. So kung magkano yung ating ibinalik and credit for a total cash of 1,580,000. So actually, these entries, these amounts, nanggaling lang yan dito sa portion na to, payment to partners. So as you can see, we have a credit ng cash na 1,580. So ito mga to, dahil ang loan account at saka yung capital, di ba, the normal balance is credit. So kapag nababawasan yan at mawawala na yan, kailangan natin silang i-debit. So, ito ang naka-debit at ito yung nasa credit. Kaya kung titingnan nyo, our last entry for the distribution of cash to partners, ito po yung entry niya. Okay. So, for the next case, case number 2, loss on realization to capital deficiency with right to offset. So, paano natin ginagamit yung right of offset para makita ninyo? So, yung case number 2, ipipresent niya yon. So, the assumption here, the NCA or the non-cash asset is being sold at 1,850,000. So, our loss on realization is 1,550,000. Alam nyo na ngayon kung paano kinocompute yung loss on realization. Ang pinagko-compare lang natin dyan, magkano yung inyong ibinenta at magkano yung napagbentahan. So, kung ang ibinenta mo ay 3.4 million, at ang nabenta mo lang at na-realize mong cash is 1,850,000, ibig sabihin meron kang loss na 1,550,000. So, if that is the case, this is the statement of liquidation for case number 2. So, ganito po yung kahihinatnan niya. Again, may title, dapat kompleto. Yung statement of liquidation, yung title niya, no? December, yung date, covered, kailangan nakalagay. And then yung mga account title na naman, ito, no? We just use, nandyan pa rin sa taas yan, hindi mawawala kasi hindi siya magmumukhang statement kung wala siya. And again, yung balances before liquidation, yan, nilagay lang din natin, no? Saan sila ngayon magkakaiba? Okay, yung sale of non-cash assets, ito pa rin. Of course, Ang napagbentahan natin is 1,850,000. So we have this 3.4, ganun pa rin sa kanina, no? And then we distribute the loss. So mas malaki yung na-distribute natin kasi mas malaki yung loss dito. Again, get the balances. So, ang cash natin dito is 2,050,000. Wala na si non-cash asset, binenta na. Binabalang din uli natin ang liabilities. And then yung mga balances nila sa loan account at yung kanilang capital after reflecting the loss on realization. As you can see, kay Flores Capital, no? Since 620,000 ang kanyang share sa loss on realization, nag-negative siya ng 20,000. So ito yung sinasabi natin na nagkaroon siya ng capital deficiency. Kasi yung capital niya ay 600,000, pero 620 ang share niya sa loss on realization, nagkaroon siya ng capital deficiency of 20,000. Now, paano natin ngayon ito i-eliminate? Now, given the fact that Flores ay meron siyang loan na 50,000. So dito natin ini-exercise yung right of offset mamaya, no? After na makapagbayad tayo ng liabilities. Because the second step is payment of liabilities to outsider. Bayad tayo ng 1,120,000 kasi sapat naman yung pera natin. And then you settle the liabilities, determine the balances again. Okay, ibaba natin yung mga balance. So we have now 930,000 as our available cash. 50,000 si Flores. Positive ito, no? Positive, positive, and then there is negative and positive siya. So now, we're going to exercise the right of offset. Offset of Flores loan against his deficiency. So dahil meron siyang pautang sa partnership na 50,000, alisin natin yung deficiency niya. Dahil mayroon siyang capital deficiency na 20,000, i-less natin. Dahil ni-less natin dito, magiging positive naman siya dito para ma-eliminate natin yung capital deficiency niya. And then determine or get the balances. Yung 930 pa rin, hindi naman nagalaw yung ating cash. Kaya lang, yung loan ni Flores, hindi na siya 50 ang pautang niya, 30 na lang. Bakit? Ayun na kasi yung 20. And then yung 80, 330, wala na siya sa capital. And then we have this 490 from Feliciano. Now, how are we going to distribute the 930,000 for payment to partners? Yung 930, ibabalik na natin. 30,000 for Flores in a form of loan. 80,000 for Feliciano doon sa kanyang loan. And then we have Calma Capital 330. Si Flores wala nang babalik sa kanya. Okay. And Feliciano is 490. So, adding all this, itong ating mga binalik sa partner, the total is 930,000. Again, as you can see, dun sa previous case natin, 3 yung ating entry. Ito, naging 4 na. Bakit? Ang napadagdag, yung pag-offset natin ng capital deficiency. So, these are the entries pertaining to case number 2. The sale of non-cash asset is the same pa rin. You debit cash, you debit the loss on realization, and credit the non-cash assets na iyong ibinenta. Paano po kung gain, ma'am? Edi, ang debit mo cash, tapos meron kang additional credit dito na gain on realization instead na magkaroon ka ng debit ng loss. So, paano po sa distribution, ma'am? So, instead na nasa debit, ang capital account ng partner, kung yan ay gain, nandun siya sa credit side. At ano ang nasa debit mo? Ang nasa debit mo ay gain on realization. So, yun ang pinagkakaiba lang dun sa entry. Okay? So, sa payment of liabilities, the same. Exercise of right of offset. Dahil may loan, gagawin lang natin, i-debit natin yung loan account ni Nigel. And then, credit sa capital niya para maidagdag natin at ma-eliminate natin yung kanyang capital deficiency amounting to 20,000. And for the distribution of cash to partner, yan lang. Kailangan lang nating i-debit yung mga normal na ang balance ay credit para mai-zero out na natin and credit cash para maibalik na natin yung 930,000 sa mga partner in a form of loan and capital. So that is the entries pertaining to case number 2. Now, for assumption number 3 or case number 3, the loss on realization resulting to capital deficiency to a personally solvent partner. So, anong sabi natin? Kapag personally solvent yung partner, the partner, pwede siyang magbigay ng additional investment para makover niya yung kanyang loss on realization. So, here, the non-cash assets are sold for 1.7 million and the loss on realization is 1.7. So, ito yung kanyang statement of liquidation for case number 3. So, pare-pareho lang yan doon sa taas, title, and the account na naka-reflect natin. The balances before liquidation is the same. Pero pagdating dun sa sale of non-cash assets and distribution of losses, dito tayo mayroong pagbabago because yung selling price natin or yung cash na realize natin for selling the non-cash asset amounting to 3.4 million is 1.7. So 1.7 lang yung realize. Mas malaki ngayon yung kanyang loss on realization. Kalahati, no? 50% lang yung na-realize na cash. So kalahati din yung loss. So determine the balances. Now, as you can see, si Flores, ang laki-laki ng kanyang capital deficiency, 80,000 now. Kasi ang share niya sa loss on realization is 680, is 600 lang yun nasa capital niya. So, ano ang gagawin natin nun? Mamaya, pag nag-eliminate tayo. Okay? So, but before we eliminate that, again, we have to pay the liabilities to outsiders. So, bayaran muna natin uli yung liabilities, 1,120,000. Ayan, settle na. Get the balances and exercise the right of offset for Flores loan against his deficiency. Diba, meron siyang loan na 50,000. Alisin natin to sa capital deficiency niya and then get the balances. Now we have 780,000. So, wala na siyang loan kasi in-offset na natin. Feliciano, meron siyang 80, may 270. So kahit in-offset natin yung 50, dahil malaki ang capital deficiency niya kumpara sa loan niya, may negative pa rin siya na 30,000. And then this one is positive 460. Sabi kanina, siya ay personally solvent. So kapag personally solvent yung partner na may capital deficiency, pwede siyang magkaroon ng additional investment. Kaya meron tayo ditong additional investment by Flores na 30 para mawala ito, no? So nagkadagdag tayo ng cash, nilagay natin sa capital para mawala yung kanyang negative. And get the balance. So since there is a 30,000 additional per 780, our total cash now is 810,000. So 80,000 yung loan ni Feliciano, 270 yung capital ni Calma. Ito wala na si Flores, no? Na-settle na niya yung kanyang deficiency. Feliciano capital for 460. And now, the 810,000 for payment to partners, no? Ibabalik natin yan in a form of 80,000 na loan kay Feliciano, 270,000 for Calma Capital, and 460,000 for Feliciano Capital. So that's how the 810,000 is being distributed sa mga partner dun sa loan and for the remaining capital of Calma and Feliciano respectively. So as far as the entry, as you can see, nadagdagan tayo ng entry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ang nakadagdag dyan is yung additional investment. Pareho lang yan, yung sale. Palaging hindi nawawala yan, yung sale of non-cash asset and distribution of loss or gain. Payment, palaging magkasunod yan. And then, yung offset, kung may loan, ini-exercise lang natin. Pero kung wala, hindi natin pwedeng i-exercise. Ngayon, ang susunod doon, ang itatanong natin, yung bang partner na may capital deficiency is solvent ba siya? Kung solvent siya, then nandito tayo sa additional investment kaagad nakasunod kung wala siyang loan balance. Now, pag sa additional investment, pwede ding mag-change ito kasi kung si partner naman ay insolvent. So, magkakaroon ng kakaibang entry, kung i-absorb siya ng other partner, just in case the deficient partner is considered to be insolvent. So these are the entries for case number 3. So yan po yung mga entry nila. Sale of non-cash assets, the same. Nag-iiba lang ang amount, no? Distribution, payment of liabilities, we exercise the right of offset, and then the additional investment made by the deficient partner to cover the capital deficiency, and yung distribution of cash to partner. So ito na yon yung pinaka last na entry, no? Yung distribution. And for case number 4, loss on realization resulting to a capital deficiency to a personally insolvent partner. So assume neither Flores is personally insolvent, it is unable to make additional investment for his remaining capital deficiency. Sabihin na natin na yung yun, the same with assumption number 3, 1.7 na benta, ang loss is 1.7 din. So what will happen kung siya ay personally insolvent? So ito yung sinasabi ko na magkakaroon ng additional loss dun sa mga other partner. So the same lang, no, ang nabawas. So saan nagkaroon tayo ng difference dito? Yung 1, number 2, and then nag-offset tayo ng loan balance niya. Since meron pa siyang negative na 30,000 at sabi siya ay insolvent. So kapag insolvent, personally insolvent, meaning the partner or the deficient partner is not capable na mag-invest ng additional cash to cover yung kanyang capital deficiency, what will happen is the other partner will absorb yung kanyang deficiency. Kaya meron tayo dito additional losses to Calma and Feliciano dun sa number 4 na magiging entry. So, yung 30,000 na yan ay pinaghatian nilang dalawa, ni Calma and Feliciano, based on their profit sharing ratio. So, how are you going to, bakit 20,000 yan ma'am? Bakit 10,000 ito? Pinaghatian. Bakit hindi divided equally? Hindi pwede. Kasi hindi naman sila divided equally talaga. Kung ito ay 40, yun ay 20. So, di ba, pag 40 over 60 times 30, so you have this 20. At yung 20 over 60 is 10,000. So that's how we divide the additional loss to Calma and Feliciano amounting to 30,000 na deficiency ni Flores. So since na pa-absorb na natin sa kanila, you're going to determine their balance. 780 ang cash. May loan 80. So 250 na yung capital ni Calma after the additional loss of 20. And then for Feliciano, no, after na mai-reflect yung additional loss of 10,000, now the balance ng kanyang capital is 450. So since we have the 780,000 remaining cash as payment to partners, the 780,000 is to be distributed kay Feliciano ng 80, Calma 250, and Feliciano Capital for 450,000. So, iyan po yung statement of liquidation for case number 4. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bali 5 entries yan. And these are the entries pertaining to case number 4. So, kung titignan po natin, ang naiba dyan, deficiencies absorbed by solvent partners. So, dahil it is considered as additional loss, dun sa other partner, their capital account ay dinebit po natin corresponding to the amount of yung additional loss sa kanila para i-absorb nila yung capital deficiency ni Nigel Flores, no? Kasi nga personally insolvent siya. So these are the distribution of cash to partner. And so, kung tutuusin, actually, madali lang ang lump sum liquidation as kasi ang assumption natin dito, wala na tayong hinahantay na non-cash asset pa na ibebenta. Kasi nga, nabenta natin yung non-cash asset ng one time lang. So, that's why it's really easy for us to prepare the statement of liquidation under the lump sum method. So yung case number 5, no, partnership insolvent but partners personally solvent. So in this particular case, partners who incurred capital deficiency will invest for the amount equivalent to its capital deficit being a personally solvent partner. So ang sinasabi lang dito, kapag yung partnership daw insolvent na, but partners naman is personally solvent, ibig sabihin negative na lahat, may utang pa silang natira. Kaya yung partnership nila is insolvent na. Lahat ng capital nila nag-negative na. Tapos meron pa silang remaining obligation or liabilities sa kanilang outside creditor. But since the partner is personally solvent naman, meaning they are personally capable of investing additional cash para ma-cover nila yung capital deficiency, so mag-i-invest lang sila dito ng cash that corresponds to their capital deficit. Kung magkano man yung capital deficiency nila. So that's it. So ganun lang kadali ang partnership liquidation under the lump sum liquidation method. Now for our next lecture, I will be discussing another method in the liquidation under the installment method. So that's all for now.